Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 1 to What If Naruto was Seal Master. Now, I won't have a like goal or anything like that on this video. We'll just see how it's received by the community and decide from there if I want to make more parts to it. So, with that being said, let's just get right into the what if itself. So, like most what ifs, this would start off at around the time of Naruto's birth. Now, not much would actually change at around this point. You know, he's born, Minato and Kushina seal themselves inside of her, and then the Nine Tails and all that kind of stuff happens normally. And I'd say the first actual change would happen when Naruto is about the age of 8. He is going through the woods, just doing his little thing, because, you know, he's Naruto, he does whatever he wants, and he finds something quite interesting. He notices something a bit weird for what is, is in the woods. It's something that kind of looks like some kind of compound or hideout. He walks in and, through a big gate, and he sees a bunch of buildings with some weird symbol on them that I think Naruto would actually know as the Uzumaki clan. I don't even know, but we're just gonna say he knows what it is. So Naruto begins exploring this compound, which obviously is like the Uzumaki clan, little thing, and Naruto ended up actually finding it, and it wasn't completely destroyed when, the entire clan was purged, so yeah. So anyway, Naruto walks into this little hideout and begins wandering around the different buildings, and until eventually he stumbles upon one that's a little bit different, a little bit more interesting than the other ones around it. The building had many glass windows, and Naruto could see straight through them, and he saw many shelves with books and scrolls on them. Naruto walks through the door, figuring out that this is indeed a library, and he begins scrolling through all the books, finding out what exactly they're about. Some just random jutsus about water and wind and, the different natures that the Uzumaki usually would have, but others are books about sealing, and something about Uzumaki clan Kekkei Genkai that nobody really knows about, especially Naruto. This is obviously the chains that Kushina had, and not all Uzumaki have them, obviously, because Naruto did, but yeah, Naruto gets them in this way, at least later on. So Naruto would begin reading these books, putting down many different techniques, taking some home with him to begin training, and, just because he just lost his first fight against Sasuke not too long ago, and he's not having a great day because of it, and he figures he needs to get stronger. So Naruto goes home, and day after day, Naruto would train with different scrolls, learning many different jutsu, such as, why can't I think of words right now? The Shadow Clone Jutsu and the Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto would learn that well before the actual graduation exam, literally years before. Naruto also finds something interesting, but he hasn't actually been able to master it yet because his seals aren't good enough, but he finds some interesting text about the Flying Raijin Jutsu. Naruto's interested by this, but he doesn't actually, try to do anything with it yet because he's not, a complete seal master at the age of 10, so, But Naruto does have a few basic seals, like a basic gravity seal, which would, when you touch somebody, would basically make it so that they're slightly heavier and slightly more like that, and the more advanced they get with their seals, the heavier they can make them feel, or the more the gravity, I guess you could say, would actually take effect. Naruto has many different seals that he's been learning about, but hasn't been able to actually, do or master yet, such as being able to, seal chakra away, or using his actual Uzumaki chains, or being able to seal individual body parts, being able to put, something over, Uchiha's eyes, and being able to seal that away until it eventually got taken off. So Naruto's been, doing this for quite some time, and another few years would pass by, and Naruto would eventually get to the point where he's going to be taking the graduation exams to hopefully become a genin. Now, Naruto would be much physically stronger, and he'd have a lot more battle sense and experience because of all of his training and all that kind of stuff, but that does not mean that Naruto took all of his time studying the less interesting parts of the academy. Like math, Naruto's not going to be paying attention. If there's like some sort of fucking history class, no, Naruto doesn't care about that. He is completely focused on the ninja life and getting stronger. So while Naruto would be at the top of the class in terms of like physical strength and battle and different abilities such as that, Naruto does not actually graduate at the very top of class because of those classes, like the ones in the school that you really don't want to do. Like you go home that night and you definitely don't want to be doing your math homework. So Naruto doesn't really, actually do those classes. So eventually, the graduation exams do come around, and they would actually begin. Now, I already explained that Naruto didn't really do well in, like, the actual, like, schooling part. I'll say he was, like, middle because of how good he did in, like, the ninja part. However, Naruto would be very good with battle. And Naruto gets to face off against Sasuke once again, just because, that's the original picking, so that's what they do. So, after all the other fights go, which, they'd go by pretty much the same, Naruto and Sasuke would actually begin walking up. And something interesting here is that Naruto is not actually hated by all, like, the girls in the class, because of the fact that not only is Naruto more lean and toned, he's actually a little bit taller. He eats better and he works out a lot more. And with this, along with the fact that Naruto looks pretty cool, like he has like writing all over his arm with like bandages and stuff, with scrolls all over his like backpack and stuff like that, Naruto looks kinda cool, they can't lie. So Naruto has a few of, like the fangirls, I guess you could say, that kind of follow him around instead of Sasuke. Now, Sasuke still gets the majority of them. He still gets like Sakura and, a lot of like those types of people that are, like that. But Naruto gets two. These two being Ino and Hinata. Hinata because Naruto still ended up helping her that one time, and, he's nice to her, even though, like, a lot of other people really aren't. And Ino because Naruto's kinda hot, and she realized that Sasuke doesn't give a fucking shit about her. Like, he has no amount of care in the world because the Uchiha Massacre still happened. So, with that actually happening, they actually go up and they begin to fight. With Naruto and Sasuke both going up, the second it starts, Sasuke charges at Naruto, because he thinks this is just going to be pretty easy. He's going to hit him a few times, knock him out, and call it a day. However, what he wasn't expecting was Naruto to be able to easily react to him. And he dodges, counters, and does a few different things like that. Sasuke backs up, putting his hands to his mouth and making a fireball jutsu, sending it flying towards Naruto. Naruto quickly reduces the amount that his gravity seal is, making him, like, reduce his speed, and he quickly darts out of the way of it, and ends up straight behind Sasuke, kicking him across the entire little, like, play, whatever they're in, sending him completely out of bounds, flying. Now, everybody would be massively shocked by this, because Naruto doesn't really flex his abilities all too much. And he really didn't in that fight either. He only used one seal, and other than that, literally kicked Sasuke one time. So he really didn't have any amount of show for his, actual ability in battle. So, with that actually happening, Naruto obviously would be top of the class in that specific category. We'll say Naruto is like top 80 to 90% of the class, like, in total, once they, like, add the two scores together. Meaning, Naruto would probably not be placed on a team with Sakura and Sasuke. Now, mind you, I do think Naruto and Sasuke would still both be placed on a team with Kakashi, because, Naruto has the Nine Tails, Kakashi has the Sharingan, which has been known to actually be able to control the Nine Tails, and Sasuke, being an Uchiha, Kakashi having a Sharingan. So they both end up going to that team. Now, who is the third member actually going to be if it is not Sakura? So Sakura goes with Kurenai, and this means that there's one person that gets, opened up, and this person is actually going to be Ino this time. Now, you might be wondering, Why? Well, you see, is because Ino has, the mind transfer, mind controlling, well, not mind controlling, but you get the point I'm trying to make. And they think that this could be a massive benefit if they have her on the team with Naruto in case the Ninetales ever takes over. Then she might be able to take over the Ninetales since it's still technically inside of a human body. They can't prove this, and they haven't really been able to test it, but hey, it's worth trying out. So that means Ino, I was trying to say Sasuke, and I added an R in. I really don't know why. Sasuke and Naruto are all on a team together, with Kakashi on Team 7. Now, the rest of the teams, other than the fact that Sakura would be now in it wouldn't even be Ino Chikasho, it would be Saka Chikasho, which doesn't even sound as good, I don't like it. But anyway, all the other teams would remain the same. So, with this actually happening, they, continue moving on with their lives, and eventually, Kakashi arrives. It's been, 3 hours at this point. Everybody's just waiting in there. Naruto's kind of, sitting in the corner by himself, with Sasuke in a different corner, with Ino going back and forth between the two, trying to get them to talk to her, but they're more focused on other things. So they're trying to think about what their sensei's going to be like. They're trying to decide what they're going to say, what the test is going to be. So, with this actually happening, Kakashi, like I said, probably about 3 hours later, everybody else is gone, he walks in and he introduces them, and, he's making up some excuse, like, oh yeah, I was helping an old lady cross the street, so, yeah, you can't really blame me for that, right? Naruto just sighs. He moves on and tells Kakashi, okay, well, what are we gonna do then? Kakashi then says, we're going up to the roof. Meet me there. Get there as fast as you can before he undoes the Shadow Claw Jutsu and it poops. So with that happening, Naruto thinks about what he wants to do to get up to the roof and then decides, hey, I'll use the window. He quickly opens the window, undoes his gravity seal, and jumps all the way up to the top of the building, absolutely shocking Ino and Sasuke, who are massively surprised by this. Now, Naruto shoots up way above the roof and is coming down above Kakashi, who looks up and sees Naruto probably a good 30-40 feet above him, because Naruto didn't really know how high up the roof was. He just kind of jumped pretty freaking hard. So, with that happening, Naruto lands down and he sits down and he's like, oh, so you're here already too. Kakashi's like, yeah, but how did you jump that high? You're only a genin. Like, what? Naruto's like, oh yeah, pretty strong, So, a few minutes later, Ino and Sasuke would arrive, not in that order, Sasuke would arrive first, obviously, but they would soon do their introductions. Now, Sasuke's would be the same, because, he has the same thing. He might add something along the lines of, I want to defeat a certain somebody as well, as he, has a little side glance towards Naruto. Now, Ino's turn is next, and Ino does have a crush on Naruto, which exceeds that over Sasuke, but she's not as, how to put this, dumb about it as Sakura is. Her goals in life don't rely entirely on marrying Naruto, making a good wife for Naruto, and doing this for Naruto. No, it's not anything like that. Her goal is to become, a strong kunoichi, and be able to surpass, I'm gonna say Tsunade would be a pretty good, option, because I don't even know what her goal was back then. I'm just kind of making shit up. So, Kakashi's like, oh, that's a pretty good goal, but he's a little bit worried about what Sasuke said, because he's like, I don't know if vengeance is the best plan in reality, but whatever, I'll just leave you to do your own business. So now, the next step would obviously be Naruto. And how would Naruto's goals, be in this way? Well, Naruto still, he does want to become the Hokage, and he also wants to be very strong, but he also wants to protect those actually, close to him. So Naruto says all of this, and he's like, oh yeah, and I dislike, there's not much I don't dislike, but what I like? Ramen. I just love ramen. So Kakashi's like, oh, okay, interesting. And he then explains to them that they need to meet him in this, testing ground the next day. And don't eat anything for breakfast. So they comply with this, and they show up there, after a while. They get there, and they begin, talking with, each other, because Kakashi's not actually there yet. 2 hours pass by, not as long as the first time, but still really late. Kakashi shows up and explains to them what the bell test is. Which, obviously, 2 bells, 2 people have to take it, and the 3rd gets sent back to the academy. So Naruto has immediately, catches on to what this is. He's been thinking about it for hours at this point because he's had so much time while he waited for Kakashi. So Kakashi tells everybody to start, and Ino and Sasuke go off in different directions, with Naruto deciding to follow Ino first, and he'll go to Sasuke later. At least, that's what you think. No, Naruto made a shadow clone because Naruto's cool like that. They both dart off in different directions. Yeah, I totally didn't forget that Naruto could do that. I totally didn't. So, they both dart off, or all 4 of them, I guess, would dart off into the woods, and the Naruto clone and the original Naruto would begin telling Sasuke and Ino that the test was about teamwork, and they had to use teamwork because there's no such thing as a 3-man squad. It's always 4. So, with this actually happening, they decide to enact a plan, which Naruto does end up coming up with. So, Naruto decides he's going to be the first out. He goes out into the clearing and gets Kakashi's attention, and he knows that this is a clone because, Naruto's just cool like that. He's a seal master, so he has very good chakra control and different, stuff like that. So Naruto begins walking out into the clearing, undoing the gravity seal completely as he does. He also undoes something else that nobody really knew about up until this point, other than, Naruto, obviously. And this is the weighted clothing that Naruto was wearing. He's wearing wristbands, different kind of boots and stuff like that. Now, you might be wondering, how would that even, really affect Naruto? Well, think about the fact that, you could be carrying around hundreds of pounds on, each individual body part. Naruto could put seals on it to make it even heavier, so Naruto would probably do that when he was training. So taking all of this off, Naruto is holding up his weights in his hand before dropping them as a massive smoke cloud is revealed there, because they're real heavy. So with this, it makes a distraction because there's a dust cloud and Naruto appears at the other end of it, pretty much exactly where Kakashi is, with the kunai in his hand, sending it straight through his gut, which obviously this is a clone, so it just poofs, revealing that, it was a clone, but Naruto already knew this. Naruto then begins trying to sense around him, because Naruto has become able to kind of sense chakra. He's not too good with it yet, but he can tell the difference between, humans and animals, and, how strong, relatively, somebody will be based on their chakra amount. So, Naruto begins doing this, and he finds something under the water, and he realizes that this must be Kakashi, so Naruto does something that nobody really knew he could do at this point, utilizing water style. Quickly, Naruto separates all the water inside of the little, river that Kakashi is in, separating all of it, leaving Kakashi at the basin with water, separate, no water, anywhere near him, really. He can't really see it. He then would look up and see a absolutely massive water dragon forming in front of Naruto, and he immediately freaks out at this. He quickly uses substitution to get out of the way of it, but Naruto sees this because Kakashi does it too early. And then he signals for Ino, a secret signal for Ino to come forward. Because Ino has been actually training with Naruto, so her mind transfer is a little bit stronger than it was. She could actually be able to, take over Kakashi for probably a good, 2-3 seconds. So with this actually happening, Ino takes, control over him, and this is where Sasuke ends up jumping out. He hasn't done any special training with Naruto, but because of the fact that Naruto is stronger than him, he would have ended up training harder in order to surpass Naruto. So with this actually happening, Sasuke runs out, doing a bunch of hand signs and yelling out the words, Fire Style, Fire Twister Jutsu, which I don't even know if it's a thing. I might be making it up. I don't really care, because I feel like it would be really cool. So a massive, literal twister of flames comes out and is speeding towards Kakashi, because, it's a twister. It's gonna be going pretty quick. So with this happening, the twister goes flying towards Kakashi, who has literally 0 time to react as he comes out of his, mind transfer jutsu. He looks slightly to his right, seeing out of the corner of his eye a absolutely massive, tornado effectively coming towards him. and he tries jumping out of the way. He knows he won't have time to do substitution, but it is too late. He gets engulfed by the massive flame, and that is where the second it dissipates, Kakashi is standing there. He's relatively fine, like he took quite a bit of damage from it. He's quite burned, but he's fine other than that. And with this, Naruto appears in front of him, slamming him down on the back, and I cannot speak words. Putting a bunch of seals around him, sealing him, and with that, they end up winning, with taking the bells. Now, Naruto decides to give one of the bells to Ino and one to Sasuke. This is just a show of, teamwork, obviously, and Kakashi congratulates them on passing. However, that is where I am going to be leaving this part off. I will see you in the next part if, this is well received. So, see you guys later, peace out, and have a great day.